What's up, guys? This is Webby back again for another top 5 for you. You know, wrestling fans, we are just a few short days away from the 32nd annual Survivor Series, the Thanksgiving week tradition only on pay-per-view. The WWE is putting on this coming Sunday, in my estimation, one of, overall, the greatest pay-per-views of all time. And no, I'm not talking about just this year. I am not talking about this card. I'm talking about in the grand scheme of things. They are putting on this Sunday the Survivor Series, one of the greatest pay-per-views of all time. In this top 5, I am going to discuss, describe, and tell you why the Survivor Series is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, pay-per-views of all time. We're going to discuss that today right here on the podcast. It'd be much appreciated if you let me know which pay-per-view you think is the greatest of all time. If you agree with me down below, let me know your thoughts. Leave me a like, share this podcast. Don't forget to subscribe if you are not a subscriber. And of course, if you are a subscriber, thank you very much. Join me this coming Sunday for the review of the 32nd Annual Survivor Series. I'll have Jason Funny on the podcast. Hopefully, I'll have David Awesome and Andy Cool as well. Hopefully, I can have those two along with me for that review, but it's a definite I will have Jason Funny. So, tune in for that. Should be a great time, should be a fantastic podcast, and should be a very interesting Survivor Series with all the things that's been going on this week in WWE, with Daniel Bryan being the new WWE champion, with Brock Lesnar showing up on Raw this past Monday, and Becky Lynch having to give up her spot and give it to Charlotte to face Ronda Rousey, amongst everything else that's happened this past week. So, tune in this Sunday for the review. Be much appreciated. But now, my top 5 reasons why the Survivor Series is one of, if not the greatest pay-per-views of all time. Coming in at number 5, the different styles of matches that we have been able to see at the Survivor Series. You know, many pay-per-views that the WWE has put on over the years that we have seen, wrestling fans, they have been the same formulaic matches. It's either been a tag team matchup, thank you, Theodore Long, or it's been a singles matchup. That's it. I mean, that's it. The Survivor Series, it has brought to us so many more matches than that. It has brought to us the traditional 5-on-5 elimination tag team match. It has brought to us a nightstick match. It has brought to us the first ever coffin matchup, casket matchup, amongst other things, buried alive match. Tremendous matches that we have seen. Elimination Chamber. The Survivor Series has shown us that we're not going to see the usual in the WWE. And that is why that is making my top 5 list. Coming in at number 4, the Montreal Screwjob. The 1997 Survivor Series. When we look at that pay-per-view, look at everything that came out of it. Look at it. Mr. McMahon was born, which led to one of the greatest rivalries in WWE history in Mr. McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Wrestling fans, a fantastic rivalry that boosted, elevated Stone Cold Steve Austin's career to new heights. Mr. McMahon not only did that, but helped elevate The Rock's career, amongst others. What about when he joined the Ministry of Darkness and had the corporate ministry? It was me, Austin. It was me all along. Amongst other things, that was all born from the Montreal Screwjob. Fantastic. And Bret Hart going over to WCW, which in most cases, if you ask a lot of people, was unfortunate, but did brew up one of the greatest rivalries of all time. Coming in at number 3, all of the WWE debuts that we have been able to see come out of the Survivor Series. Just think of it. We saw Sting. We saw The Rock. We saw The Undertaker. All come out of the Survivor Series. Rocky Maivia, 1996 Survivor Series, was the sole survivor on his team. Absolutely fantastic that he started his career that way. Tremendous that he got that first push right there at the Survivor Series, Madison Square Garden in New York City. Not only that, Sting making his debut St. Louis, Missouri, 2014, which led to Sting versus Triple H at WrestleMania 31. Cherry on the cake. The icing on the cake, 1990. The Undertaker coming out. The mystery partner of the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase's team, the $1 Million Team. Absolutely fantastic. Taking out half of the Dream Team. Coco Beware, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Fantastic. The Undertaker. What a historic, illustrious career. And it all started at the Survivor Series. Even won his first WWE Championship 1 year later at the Survivor Series. The Undertaker. Absolutely fantastic. And definitely this pay-per-view deserves a lot of credit for that. Coming in at number 2, the Elimination Chamber debuted at the 2002 Survivor Series. Now I know I just mentioned different styles of matches that we've been able to see at the Survivor Series. A big part of them we only got to see once. Outside of, the casket match, aka coffin match, and Buried Alive. Therefore, Elimination Chamber writes itself. 2002, we got to see it. Absolutely fantastic. Great contest. It wrote itself and continues on today. Got its own pay-per-view. Survivor Series, big part of that. What can't you say about this pay-per-view so far? This pay-per-view has brought so much to us so far. Coming in at number one, probably one of the things that people don't talk about the most. People just rarely talk about it. The Survivor Series is one of very few pay-per-views that has not always had the WWE Championship, or for that matter, any championship defended on it every year. The Survivor Series from 1987 through 1990 never had a title defended on it. 1991 and 1992, they had titles defended on it. 1991, the WWE Championship was defended. 1992, the WWE Championship was defended on it in a champion versus champion matchup. Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart. Back in 1993, it went back to a full traditional Survivor Series elimination tag team matchup pay-per-view. The entire card. From there, it went on to having titles being defended on it virtually practically every year until we got to brand supremacy, brand warfare, where champions versus champions were going on all the time. As we all know, that's pretty much where they go to now. This year, they have the Cruiserweight Championship on the line. But other than that, it's all champions versus champions. There's no championship on the line. So, the WWE definitely has made the Survivor Series one of the greatest, if not the greatest, pay-per-views of all time. Some of you might disagree with that and say the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania or SummerSlam or something like that might be one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest. I understand where you're coming from. The Royal Rumble has the Royal Rumble match, which leads to a main event spot at WrestleMania. WrestleMania, the grandeur, the spectacle, all that, the pyro, all the glitz, the glamour, everything that comes with the matches themselves. I get it. SummerSlam, everything that comes with the SummerSlam pay-per-view, as far as SummerSlam weekend, I get it. Same thing can be said with WrestleMania week. However, as far as history is concerned, I still say the Survivor Series is probably the greatest pay-per-view of all time. And this is why. The reasons that I just gave you. So you let me know what you're thinking in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to do everything that I just mentioned at the beginning of this podcast. And until I see you again, this is Webby, and I'll catch you on the other side. Talk to you later.